Just got a new windshield for my 1954 MGTF. Some assembly required. Today on Robert's British Cars and Stuff, we're going to try to assemble the frame around my new windshield, which goes on 3778 1954 MGTF. Let's take a look at what we'll be working with today. Well, as I've said many times before, I've never put a frame around a windshield on a 54 MGTF, but here's the frame. And what I'm going to do first is line up the corners. Make sure I got a good corner on the chrome or the brass, chrome plated brass. Here's an interesting thing. This was the corner piece that I took out of here, and that's not usable. So I made a new one, and hopefully we're going to fit that in and see if we get a good corner. Over here, I made these little brackets out of wood to hold my windshield up. And there is the new windshield ready for the frame. Again, I haven't done this before, so I'm kind of making it up as I go along. I looked for videos on how to do this, but I didn't see any. Well, now there's going to be one. Well, I've got the seal that goes around the glass, and I cut a piece for the bottom of the windshield. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape it on and hold it in place. And we'll see how that goes. Okay, so what I did is I put the tape like this around the windshield, just enough to, hold it. And then I'm going to put some lubricant on here, and we're going to try to put the bottom of the windshield on there. See what happens. Lube time. Dun, 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 dun. This is the messy part now. Let's line this up. Oh, this isn't working. Okay. That's not doing it. You gotta come up with a different plan. So what did all that taping get me? A tape ball. Not quite the result I was looking for. So here is the bottom rail of the windshield that we were trying to put on. After about 4 hours, I finally figured out a plan. And what did that plan get me? Well, it didn't get me the bottom on, but it got me a side, and it got me the top. Woohoo! So yeah, we got the top of the windshield on and one side. And I figured out what made a really good lubricant. Yes, that's what I used. So I figure I'll try to put on this side and show you what I did. So what I did, it's 4 hours later. I came to the conclusion that either the gap, I need a prop, that the gap shrunk, or this put on weight. And I tried heating this up, didn't make any difference. I did not want to pound out and force, and it just wasn't it. Not doing it. So here's what I did. I got out my fillet board. I got out wax paper. I got out a piece of the packing. Put the wax paper on the packing. Yes, a rolling pin. And I started rolling this out to try to make it just a little bit thinner, so I could slide the bracket over the glass, or actually I did use the wooden mallet gently. So I rolled out, kind of like making ravioli. I kind of rolled out the windshield glazing packing things here. To make it just a little bit thinner. Let's see what happens. Here's my nicely rolled packing. Hold that up there. We're going to apply the lubrication. Then we're going to hold it up there again. Make sure we got this going the right way. Hold that. See if I can get it started. Making sure that my little patty here is centered. No, I'm just pushing, or trying to. I think I got the top started. Oopsie. I think we might have to roll the ravioli a little more. Ta-da! Okay, I'll do it lefty. There. I got a nice little corner going on here. Now we'll see if I can get the screws in. With the side in place here, I'm going to put the screws in. There's the top screw. Top screw, for some reason, is a flathead. When you're doing this and you take the windshield apart, mark the screws so you know which ones go where. Okay, and then the bottom one is a short screw, and that is a Phillips head. And we'll just put that right in there. And snug. Snug. I have to put the bottom on so nothing is getting tightened up. Top screws, snug, and snug. Okay, now we'll come back and put the bottom on. Well, actually, I'm going to put the bottom on, then we'll come back and put the windshield on the car. I just wanted to show the corners. There's the top corner. It's a nice nice fit, I think. Again, my screws are not tight. They're just there. Here's the one we just put in. And as you can see, there's the top corner and the inside corner. And excuse me. And there's the front. And you know, we could trim this off. We could trim this stuff off, but I think I'm gonna leave it. Okay, not. Before we put this on the car, I wanted to go over a couple of little things that I didn't videotape. Okay, first of all, when I put this rubber on, I used Marvel Mystery Oil to lubricate it. There isn't room here, if you can see, for the rubber to slide into the groove. So what I did is I put it in where the screw hole is, and put it in there, and then just pulled it along till I got it all the way to the other end. Then came back here and cut it, and yeah, my cut's not exactly straight, but I won't tell anybody if you don't. Anyway, that's how I put the rubber seal in. Another thing, and this is I guess it's kind of important, the frame is bigger than the windshield, okay? And the frame is a different shape than the windshield. So what does that mean? The top, the middle of the bottom, and the middle of the top of the windshield are the only places where the windshield is at the bottom of the frame, okay? So right here, the windshield is into the frame all the way, but the frame bends more than the glass. So as you get closer to the edge, less of the windshield is in the frame. So here, for example, it's a 1/2 inch into the frame, all the way in. On the ends, it's in maybe 1/4 of an inch. So you got a lot of wadding left over, you trim it off. What that means is there's room for the screws. Now, when you put the screws in, before you put them in, I used this little probe, put it in the screw hole to make sure I had enough depth for the screw. I could see horror stories of tightening those screws into the edge of the windshield and cracking it. So just probe and make sure that those holes are deep enough. Another thing is the top and the bottom of the windshield, at least in this application, because I'm sure all the windshields are cut different, the top and the bottom are longer than the windshield is long. So when you put the sides on, they're not all the way in the groove either. They're maybe in there 3/4 of the way, which leaves you room for the screws. Finally, when you take it apart, you want to mark what screws go where so they go back in the same place. I was going to have a little, here comes the furnace. It's December. So marking the screws. Again, this is the old bracket that sat here, right? Obviously, I'm not going to use it. But when you take the windshield apart and you take these corner brackets out, put the screws back in the bracket, and then just label the brackets, you know, top, bottom, left, right, etc. But leave the screws in the brackets, and when you put the brackets back in the windshield, you know what screws went where. So basically, what you're doing is you're putting the frame around the glass, but it's not matching the edges of the glass. It's matching the corners. So the frame is bigger than the windshield. The padding, the wadding, the glazing, whatever it's called, takes up the extra space. So let's get this on the car. There's one other thing I'm going to mention here that I think is of some importance. This is the wadding that I have left over that went around the windshield. And in addition to rolling it, what I did is I put it on the little anvil part of my vise and hit it with a hammer. Okay? Again, I'm not sure if that really thinned it out any, but it made it more pliable. You know what I mean? So the frame slid easier. Actually, it would be this way, slid easier. And if you do this to thin out your wadding, you don't have to worry about thinning the ends because you're going to cut some off anyway. Okay? So that was just another thing. After I pounded it, and I only did this on the bottom part because I got tired of rolling. If you're going to do this, I rolled it after beating it just to get some of the little hammer dimples out. So now as we are getting ready to put the windshield on the car, I made an interesting observation. You see, this was a frame off. This was down to the frame, powder coated and then rebuilt project. And I wanted to get the dashboard in. Before I could put the dashboard in, I had to put in this kick panel because the kick panel, well, you can't see it. The kick panel, the dashboard right here is bolted through the kick panel into the body of the car. So I had to put the kick panel in before I put the dashboard in. Unfortunately, the bolts that hold on the windshield are behind the kick panel. So I have to remove the kick panel and hopefully not pull out the dashboard because I just got done wiring the car and everything works, and we'll see what we do. So what we did here is I did get the bracket on the car, and this one is bolted down tight. I was able to move the inner door panel or the inner kick panel out of the way to put these on. I put this one on. On this side, I had to take the door panel or the kick panel out, and I put this bracket in without the top screw, but these are in there, and the nuts are just on the end of the bolt to hold it in place, so I have some wiggle room. And what I'm going to do is take the windshield over there, put it in place with the help of my helper, and that ought to do it. So I have a helper for this one. This is my helper. And here we go. You got the windshield out of our cradle. And I'll drop it on my fresh paint. No, I'm kidding. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the fixed side, I need a little more, the fixed side in here, like that. And my helper is going to just nudge that into place. Okay. The windshield is in. I just got to put the nuts on, tighten those bolts on that side, and this job is done. So I hope you enjoyed the video of installing the frame on the windshield on 1954 MGTF 3778. Be sure to stay tuned. There'll be more videos coming. Thank you for watching.